Okay, now we're going to work on the back side of the guitar. But first, now that we've got this top sealed, I'm going to put some tape along this edge and mask off the finished top of it so that we don't damage that while we're doing the back. And now I kind of hung on to the original template that I cut out of paper, and I'm going to use that to mask off the top. Since it's cut to the right size, it kind of fits, and it'll be real easy just to tape it down here. Now I'm going to take, I'm using a 2-inch piece of tape, painter's tape, and you can use whatever size you're comfortable with. But I'm just going to start going around here, and where the drop top ends, that line is where I'm putting the tape to. And if you're careful, you can do this with one big long piece of tape. Remember, if you start using real small pieces and cutting the tape as you go around, you can have little spots where it overlaps where paint can sort of seep in. So just sort of carefully make your way around, make sure you've got good contact with the body of the guitar. And then once you're around, I'm going to put that paper template in. And then I'm going to carefully start to fold the tape over to secure it in place. And you have to watch these those inside curves. You may have to make a little relief cut in the tape to get that to bend properly. The key here is just to make sure that it stays secure to the side of the guitar. I have to do the same thing here. Again, be very mindful of that line where the drop top meets the back. And then just go around and put some pressure on that edge and make sure you've got a good seal. The worry here is that paint from the back is going to seep underneath the tape and it'll show on the top. And at this point, I'm just going to put some tape over the rest of the surface here and on top of the paper, just so as you spray that it doesn't blow up the paper. And you want to make sure that you don't have any holes or gaps anywhere where overspray could go in and sit on top of your finish. Again, just go carefully over it and make sure that everything's nice and snug, that you've got a good seal around it. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to cover up the that tremolo pocket and the control pocket. I mean, it doesn't hurt if you get paint inside of here, but I do kind of like to leave a little section of the wood bare so that, you know, if it needs to, it can breathe. You can see I've just sort of filled in those two pockets. Then I'm just going to take some, this is just a little piece of paper towel, and I'm just going to shove that in there where the output jack goes, just to sort of plug that up and keep paint from going inside of that. Okay, now when you're ready to start spraying, double check that seal, and I'm going to use some sanding sealer, and that is a lacquer based product, so make sure you got plenty of ventilation and make sure that seal's nice and secure. You don't want anything to seep down in between that. And now by using a clear sanding seal first, anything that does seep in there is going to be clear like the finish, and it's not going to be as noticeable. And then once that's seeped in there, when you spray your color coat, you're not going to see it. Since it's full of sanding sealer now, it won't have anywhere to go. I'm going to start spraying here, and I'm actually doing this guitar with just regular spray cans that you would get at a hardware store. You know, the intent here, you can spray it however you like. I just want to show that you can do it with just common spray paint. Then I'm just going to put a nice even coat across the back. And then let this dry for 2 hours. Okay, now once it's dry, I'm going to take some 180 grit sandpaper, something pretty fine here. You're not really trying to remove a lot of material, you're just wanting to smooth everything out. And just go over all the exposed areas there. And then I'm going to take a cloth and just wipe any dust or anything off of it now. Make sure we're all still secure with the tape to put the color coat on. Okay, now I chose a metallic spray paint for this that's very similar to the dye that we put on top, color-wise. And I'm just going to paint the back a solid metallic blue color. And again, I'm going to start with some short little bursts there in the corners and on the side. And then I'll work my way around the body of the guitar, getting the sides and that upper edge. And then once you've got the sides done, we can, just like the sanding sealer, we can go through and put a nice even coat across the top, the back. Okay, now let that dry for 2 hours. And then you can repeat this process, do a very light sand, then put another coat on, let that dry. You can build it up as much as you like. I actually put about 3 coats on the body that you see here. And this is after the 3rd coat is dry. And you can see just regular, hardware spray paint. You can put a pretty nice finish on your guitar without all the spray rigs and spray guns and compressors.